Alright, here we go. First UFC blog, first MMA blog. I'm going to try it out and see how you guys like it. I I feel as though I got a lot of good opinions that I want to let everybody else know about. So, here we go. First up, we're going to talk about Fedor losing, obviously. And then after that, we're going to talk about 116. And then after that, I actually want to talk about 115 for a minute. But then I really, really, really want to talk about 114. Because I've just about had it with all these fucking Quentin nuthuggers. But anyway, Fedor losing. It was surprising, but at the same time, I watched the fight after hearing it at work. I had heard about it at work, and I was like, really, he lost? Wow. But when I came home and I watched it and I said, he was winning that fight. He was obviously winning that fight. He got caught up in the moment. He got submitted. It happens to the best of us. Best of them anyway. So, Fedor losing drops him out at number one. I don't think he should have been number one in the first place. He wasn't fighting game opponents, in my opinion. He was just fighting, Brett Rogers. Not saying he sucks or anything, because he finished Arlovsky pretty quick. And people say Arlovsky's got a weak chin, but he made him look like a little bit of a hoe in that fight. And then, you know, he looked sloppy in that fight. And it was then when I saw him in that fight that I said, you know what? I don't think Fedor's what he used to be. He will get destroyed by guys like Alistar. I was thinking Alistar was going to beat him, but not Werdum. I figured Werdum was going to get KO'd or TKO'd. That didn't happen. He got submitted by a great grappler, okay? Werdum is a great grappler. All right, he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion 2 times in a row, you know? And there's game opponents in those grappling tournaments, and he kept winning them. So, him losing doesn't even put a blemish on his record. He's what? I don't know exactly what it is, but he's like 32-2. And in all honesty, he's 32-1. Okay, that's the great thing about MMA that I love about it is if you lose, there's always a chance to come back. And if Fedor can come back just as good as he was in Pride, and just as good as he was when he was getting all those other 32 wins, he should be back, no problem. So with him losing, not that big of a deal. People say, "Oh, Strikeforce is fucked now because their number one draw just lost." This is nowhere close to being true. They'll be back without a doubt. They're UFC's one competitor in MMA. Just like wrestling, there was always WWF, WCW, and ECW. There will always be other places to watch MMA. So, with that, with Fedor, bottom line is, it was going to happen eventually. Everybody loses. Fedor's no god. And yes, he can still armbar bears. So, but 115, Chocolatl got knocked out, which was kind of depressing in a way. Myself, I'm not the biggest Chocolatl fan, but to see him get knocked out over like that, it was just sad. I mean, I could have taken that Rich Franklin punch. I swear, I got a chin, man. See that? Dan Henderson chin. So it's sad, but and then another fight. My favorite fight from that night was Patrick Berry and Mirko Cro Cop. Big Berry fan. I've grown to like him, especially coming to this fight, man. I couldn't believe how much he was just pretty much sucking up to Cro Cop, but at the same time, he was staying confident. You go into watching that fight, those guys literally stopped for like 10 seconds, shook hands, no homo, but they hugged each other. And it was just that emotion that was really, really cool. So, that was a good fight. The rest of them I really didn't pay that much attention to. The Gilbert Yvel, Ben Rothwell was not much to me. It kind of sucks to see Gilbert Yvel gone. Or he hasn't been cut yet, so he's not gone yet, but probably give him Stefan Struve. So, but Ultimate Fight Night, Jardine's gone. I don't really care either way. Matt Hamill, really, he's not that bad of a light heavyweight. I mean, people think he's deaf and stupid and shit, but I don't think he is. I think he's a game opponent. He's got good wrestling that he could easily use. Give him some striking, and then he could be set. But Jardine leaving's no big deal. I've been watching a lot of the Ultimate Fighter that much, so I couldn't really tell you about the Rory Markham, I think it was his name. But matter of fact, yesterday Jason Yeager's gone. Big deal. The one episode I saw, I fucking hated that guy just from watching that episode. So, but the one thing I want to get into real quick And I think it's because I'm a little bit of a Rashad Evans nut hugger. Excuse me, I'm sorry, but I know people are like, well, Rashad, all he did was wrestle, but you got to realize that he used wrestling and he used his striking. At the beginning of the fight, he was the first one to punch Quentin. Am I wrong? Go look at it yourself. He hit him first. He rocked him. So he didn't just go in there, clinch up, take him down on the ground. Not only that, but Quentin has hella good takedown defense. Very good. Okay. He went up against Dan Henderson, one of the best Greco-Roman wrestlers, and he took Dan Henderson down a couple times, and Dan Henderson had a hard time taking Quentin down. Rashad took him down, and he almost made it look easy. You know? You gotta understand that mixed martial arts is exactly what it sounds like. Mixed martial arts. It's not a wrestling match. It's not a jiu-jitsu match, or whatever they call it. I don't know if it's a jiu-jitsu match or whatever. Besides, it's not just a boxing match, and it's not just a kickboxing match. It's a mesh. A mesh. See? Mesh. They're put together, and you have to, fight knowing that your opponent is going to try to utilize every single part of mixed martial arts. That's why you don't see fighters like back in the day. Royce Gracie was great because he was a jiu-jitsu artist. Nobody else really knew what jiu-jitsu was. Okay, and the Gracies had this amazing jiu-jitsu thing going for him, and they've been doing it for years. Okay, he went up against the boxer guy, and the boxer, people were like, oh, the boxer's just going to knock him out. Look how scrawny this motherfucker is. The boxer got tapped down in less than like 2 minutes. You know? So that boxer, if that boxer went in there with some jiu-jitsu background, he might have lasted for maybe like 5 minutes. I thought Gracie was great back then. So, but that's the thing about mixed martial arts. You're not watching boxing. You're not watching kickboxing. You're watching mixed martial arts, which is a cultivation of, or a cultivation of, whatever the fucking word is, of sports put together. So, all you Quentin Rampage Jackson fans out there bitching and moaning because all he did was wrestle him. Quentin, learn how to fucking defend a takedown. Not saying that Rashad didn't do a good job, because he did a great job in that fight. He stuck to the game plan. And you can't stop a Quentin or a Rashad takedown. You must suck or something. That ain't true. Rashad's a hell of a wrestler. So that's just the way I see it. I'm tired of these Quentin Rampage Jackson fans getting all mad about it because all he did was wrestle. What do you think he was gonna do? I mean, Rashad knew himself that Quentin has knockout power in both hands. So what are you going to do to nullify that? Take him down over and over and over again. So that's just the way I see it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this blog right here, but I'm going to go ahead and make another one real quick talking about Carwin and Brock Lesnar. And then I might even talk about Rashad and Shogun here pretty soon. So I goes to do that right now.